Hi, I'm Vigo, an 18-year-old adventurer. With plane tickets booked, a one-way flight to Barcelona, Spain, and a return flight departing from Naples, Italy in 2 weeks, I arrived in Barcelona 2 days ago. To go with the plane tickets, I have a 2-week flexible interrail ticket that allows me free train travel in the region. But with nothing else booked or planned, everything that happens in the next 2 weeks between Barcelona and Naples is completely unbeknownst to me. Sounds pretty fun and easy, right? No, absolutely not. Over the next 2 weeks, I will be solo traveling and arriving in a new city or town almost every single night, having to book new accommodation every day of the trip. At one point of the journey, I would be guided by Google Maps to bike down a highway, struggling to make it to the train station in time, and I might have ended up on hospital grounds.
Just went by a fire in the middle of the road. This is a hospital.
At other points of the journey, I would be struggling with decision fatigue, leading to the fear of missing a better option when making any tiny decision. I'd also experience a small amount of isolation, struggling to connect with fellow travelers in the off-season, with most of the people in the hostels being at least twice my age. At other points of the trip though, I would feel happier than I ever had in my entire life, hiking one of the most scenic trails in Italy with a few dudes I met at a hostel, and waking up in the most beautiful and remote Italian fishing village. I'd also meet an illegal immigrant whom I ended up talking with for hours. The series has taken the better part of 2 years to edit, and this trip is the beginning of my travels, which introduced me to what traveling the world is really like. This is episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 0 yet, where I flew to Barcelona, you can go and watch that first, but this episode is where the journey really begins. And I just woke up at this hostel in Barcelona.
I got checked out and headed for the train station with a biscuit in my hand. After spending 2 nights in Barcelona, I plan to travel north towards France.
Leaving Barcelona now.
After a few hours, I made it to the Spanish border town Portbou with a plan to catch a train into France an hour later.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the station Portbou. End of trip.
Alright, so first of all, this is an amazing station. These mountains are incredible, but also my train is not showing up on the boards and I am very confused. I think it might be cancelled and I don't know what to do. Maybe the station is split up into 2 parts, I don't know. I did experience that once before and I learned that the hard way in Toronto in Italy on my last interrail trip.
And you would never assume that at such a small station there would be 2 stations just next to each other. That actually led me to miss my connection.
Well, but if I'm gonna make it out of here, my train leaves in 40 minutes, so I'm gonna explore a bit of this tiny town, I guess. What an absolutely beautiful, beautiful little town just on the border between Spain and France. France is just on the other side of this big mountain. And today I'm hopefully gonna end up in a little old town called Carcassonne, which has inspired a board game that I played quite a lot when I was younger.
This board game.
But this is the Mediterranean Sea. I actually flew over this town 2 days ago and I have a photo where you can just make out where the town is. I kind of really want to go swimming in this, but I don't really have the time for it. And also, it's probably pretty cold. I have a train in 20 minutes, but you know, I just gotta feel the water. I'm gonna be shocked if I find a stone in my shoes later. The water was like biting me because it was so cold, but I actually wasn't like freezing, so if I had more time I would have definitely went swimming. I was actually planning on having lunch in this town, but I just spent my time walking around. I think that might be my train. It's coming from the right direction at least. I'm gonna hurry a bit now.
Yeah, this looks right. Port Bow up to Carcassonne. Alright.
I travelled north along the Mediterranean and about 60 kilometers inland to the French medieval town of Carcassonne.
Alright, I made it to France and more specifically to Carcassonne. It's actually quite cold and very windy, but I got a little snack just to have something to eat before dinner, and I'm on my way to my hostel now, so everything seems good. Hello, I'd like to check in. Viggo Paulsen. Alright, this seems pretty good. Seems like I'm the first one in the room, but seems perfect. There's a little bathroom and then 6 beds and a little window. Yeah, alright, I just checked the weather app and it's 14 degrees here. In Port Bow it was 21 degrees.
Apparently travelling 40 minutes inland is a temperature difference of 7 degrees around here.
So there's quite a difference. So I haven't actually booked my accommodation for tomorrow night,
But because it was so cold, I decided to head back for the coast tomorrow.
but I think I'll just explore the medieval town now and yeah, we'll see.
On the way out, I met a guy called Diego. He was from Spain, but he lives in Australia. We had a chat, which was pretty nice in contrast to the silence hostel I just stayed at for the past 2 nights. When I travel alone, I kind of rely on socializing at hostels, so...
It's nice to be able to socialize now.
But you'll hear more about Diego in just a sec though.
That is dang close. There's an airport in Carcassonne, so makes sense. Wow. Wow. That's the medieval town. Incredible. I cannot explain how many times I've seen this castle, but it's amazing to see it in person. Don't think this is the official way up, but... Oh, God. That's a mouse. Oof. Wow. How is it possible to build something like that? That's amazing. I was expecting an entrance fee, but there was none. But there is to get into the most central bit, and it's closed for the day. It closed like 30 minutes ago, so but that's fine. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow morning. I don't know. Wow. I just met the guy from the hostel again, and he said that he also came here just because of the board game and that it was his favorite board game. Diego from Australia. Correction, from Spain, but lives in Australia. What a nice sunset. And I just met Diego for the 3rd time, I think. I'm starting to lose count. He had just forgotten my name again.
But I don't suppose my name exactly is the most common one in Australia.
Wow, that tree, that house, this bridge, this castle, everything just looks amazing. I don't actually know why it has all those stripes, but I'm definitely gonna have to find out why.
Alright, let's find out. To commemorate its 20 years as an UNESCO World Heritage Site, not an art installation but a protest to having elected politicians in prison or exile. The next post denies that though. Some say it was tape, some say it's paint, and this one says it was paper designed to wear off. Maybe because of the mayor, but created by Swiss artist. I don't know, it seems complicated. As the sun was setting over the fairy tale-like castle, I went to get my first real meal of the day, a giant burger. It doesn't look that big on camera, but I've never seen a burger that big in my life before.
It was good, but it was difficult eating all that. But I'm heading back to my hostel now, and I think that's it for today.
That's the end of the episode. A week from now, the next episode will be released, where I hope you'll join me as I explore a little more of Carcassonne.
Good morning. I am running to watch the sunrise at the castle.
And travel to a coastal town where I would end up experiencing a bit of travel burnout.
I think I'm starting to develop some problems with deciding for stuff. It's like, why am I even here?
And finally, I meet the illegal immigrant Shell, whom I would end up spending the evening talking to. If the next episode is already up by the time you're watching this, then it'll be on the screen now, but otherwise it'll be up next Thursday. You can check out episode 0 or another video in the meantime. I'll see you there.